What Nerdigans? This is the one and only Packer Girl 89 of Nerdigans, and today's anime Nerdigan live reaction video is going to be for Bleach 1000-Year Blood War Part 2, The Separation, Episode 1, aka Episode 14, titled The Last 9 Days. So before I get into this, let me just remind you to hit that like, share, and subscribe buttons. And because, of course, this channel, let alone this video, are not sponsored, if you love what we're doing and want to help keep this operation alive and kicking so we can keep bringing you more anime and manga content, whether it be news, analysis, or live reactions like this one, feel free to hit up our Cash App and PayPal. Links are in the description box below, as well as the link to the live reaction for the opening song. That will be in the description box below as well. So, okay, first off, how my live reactions work is that because I am not sponsored and the last thing I need is a copyright strike, I can't show anything on the screen. But on my side of things here, I have the anime and manga side by side, because everything here is from a manga reader's perspective, and Bleach was one of the first series that I started covering on my channel. Hell, my channel would not exist if it weren't for Bleach. When it comes to art, I have been very, very spoiled by manga and manhwa especially. And because of that, I have a very high standard. And whether it be anime, manga, or manhwa, if it looks bad, I am going to tell you. But when it comes to writing, however, Bleach, I'm definitely going to be a little bit more lenient because we're in a situation here where there is definitely going to be significant filler. And I'm okay with that. But there's a few things here. Dialogue-wise, obviously it's not going to be one-to-one because of circumstances. But as long as the dialogue is within Kubo's original, intentions and all that, fine. If it's way out of left field, I will call it out. Now, in regards to scene changes, like we're going to have right here, yeah, that's a different story. Now, if it is like not working in terms of the flow of the episode, yeah, we're gonna have issues. But if it is, okay. But if like scenes like we had in the previous season are completely cut out, yeah, we're gonna have problems. Filler is one thing, but if it's being put in and the manga continuity is being sacrificed in the process, yeah, we're gonna have issues here. But anyways, where we're starting off this season is very interesting, and I'm kind of torn on how I feel about it, because we're starting off, instead of chapter 543, we're starting off at chapter 565, which is a choice. But anyways, and my guess is I don't think we're going to get the narration here. And if that is the case, I'm going to read it as, the sequence goes on. Because, god damn it, if it is that case and it's done really well, I'm going to be stoked. I'm going to be mad at the same time, but because, again, I don't know if we will ever get this narration. I honestly don't. And that kind of bugs me. But anyways, without further ado, let's get to this episode here. See what's in store for us today. Ooh, okay, I like this, where we're getting the sperm meeting up with the egg, and because it's obviously Bach, and we're seeing Bach develop, and then we see like the sonogram. Oh, this is so gorgeous, because this is on the manga. Then we see the sonogram and we see him being born. And what it says here, because obviously we're not going to get this. I don't think we're getting this. But this is what it says here. And I think it's beautiful that it's all black here. Because what it says here in the narration, it says, the baby could not see, could not hear, could not speak, and could not even move. He had no means of prolonging his own survival. Yet the baby was not afraid. He did not cry because his throat could not produce no noise. But even if he had been able to, he would not have made a sound. Look at this. Look at the color palette. It's all black with a little bit of light for white for the outline. And the baby knew that even without the means to prolong his own life, he would nevertheless live on. Just look at that innocence. The people, this is where we're at the 31-second mark with the hands grabbing him. The people around treasured the baby like a precious treasure. This was because everyone who touched the baby found that they gradually gained something that they lacked. This is beautiful art. Oh my God. So this music, man. I love how, like, abstract this music is and how bizarre it is, because Bach is very bizarre. It's very interesting. I love seeing all the hands, like, raise Bach up like this. I think it's so interesting. But where is it? Here's the thing that I'm kind of bothered by that's not being depicted. Because here's what it says here in the narration. Those with afflictions of the lungs found their lungs were healed. Those who were lonely found their hearts satisfied. Those who were cowardly found courage. And even those who had lost their legs found them gradually growing once more. For this baby possessed the power to share out his own soul. I like this, though, where we're seeing, like, the hands, Bach's followers lift the baby up, and we're seeing, like, the white in his eyes and his mouth, because that obviously symbolizes, the power that he's sharing out. I think that's really interesting. And then look at the mountain of his followers. It's so interesting. But let me read this here. But this is, I think, is very interesting. Because anyone who touched the baby received a fragment of his soul. I wish we were seeing the soul. Well, you can make the argument that the eyes and the mouth being lit up and, like, seeing and the white outline and all that around Bach kind of represents that. And those fragments heal the wounds that their own souls alone cannot. At the same time, and that's what we're seeing here, like at the 45-second mark, we're seeing the white being the souls. As their wounds, at the same time as their wounds slowly healed, the knowledge they had gained, the abilities they had learned through great effort, the skills they had awakened within themselves, were all imprinted upon the fragments of the baby's soul they had received. See, this is why it kind of bothers me that the narration isn't here, because of stuff like that. But I do, again, as someone who, I'm reading this, I do like the artistic interpretation, especially with the soundtrack. Holy shit, it's amazing. I know there's people that are not going to understand it, and they're probably going to hate it. But god damn it, I love it. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but because the narration isn't there, and because how the artistic interpretation of this is so interesting, I kind of have to. This is where it gets interesting, because as I said, I mentioned the souls and all that. And then there's this part here. At the moment of their deaths, those fragments return to the baby. You see, that's the red being absorbed, like, the life force and all that. None who touched the baby lived for much longer. A few years, a few months, some even died, and you're seeing, like at the 50-second mark, you see the red coming out, like their life force, and you're seeing the arms, like, shrivel up. Oh, I love it so much. Where are you? Some even died after a few days, yet even so, the people continued to gather around the baby. As he regained the fragments of his soul that he had shared out. And you see it as we zoomed in, as the camera zooming in, going up to him. The baby's immobile arms and legs and his sun-seeing eyes began to heal. In time, when the baby's deaf ears became able to hear, he realized that the people had begun to call him by an unusual name. He understood that this was the name of the god these people worshipped, but he chose nonetheless to take that name for his own, and that would be Bach, like we're seeing here. Yo, Bach. Yeah, this is, and look at this, like, at the 1 minute 4-second mark. This is, like, as, his eyes, his ears, his mouth are healing, and you see all that red, like the life force, like, going into the center. Oh my god, this is just amazing. And you see him growing. This sequence has to be the best fucking thing I have seen in Thousand Year Blood War to date. Beautiful fucking art. This has got to be one of the best sequences I've seen in modern animation in a minute. Oh my god, it's beautiful. It just makes me think of Shonen no Abyss. It really does. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. From what I am seeing here, because I am double checking, the Ichibe content that we're getting here after the opening song, and you guys can correct me in the comment section, but it seems to be anime original content, which is really important here, because we don't get shit with Ichibe until right before Ichigo leaves to join the fight against the Sternritters. So I'm very happy. This is what I'm talking about, like filler that is definitely needed. So I'm very pleased with this. So at the 4-minute 11-second mark, we get back to where we left off at the end of the previous season, which was page 15 of chapter 542's adaptation of the manga. Now, in terms of filler, as I said, this filler felt appropriate because it was a nice transition for Ichigo, because like after this, in the manga, we really didn't get much with Ichigo, so that's appropriate. But like, in terms of like box content at the beginning of this core, this felt, as much as I loved it, it feels so inappropriate. This didn't feel right. Because Bach is supposed to be very mysterious, and there's all this foreshadowing, especially from Hoshewald. And to have it here instead of like, say, because it's at 565 until like, say, like the start of 560, the episode with 565's adaptation, that really pisses me off. As much as I love, again, I love how it was adapted, but this was not the time for it. No. This was not the time for it. I think if it would have had the content that we had after the opening song with Ichigo and Ichibe, and then go into the opening song, and then go into the Sternritter content, I feel like that would have just been a lot smoother. Because either that or just not have the Ichibe and Jinbei content at all and just have like all the Sternritter stuff. It just doesn't, this doesn't work for, this is very disjointed. You can't have it both ways. I really feel like the Ichibe and Ichigo content shouldn't have been here. It should have just gone straight into the Sternritter content. I'm very curious what you guys think, if it feels disjointed like it does for me. But anyways, let's get back into the episode here. Jesus, this soundtrack is just slapping. Oh my god, the soundtrack is just not missing. But god damn it, again, I can't help but think of how disjointed the episode is because of the fucking Ichibe and Ichigo content that shouldn't have been here. God. But the other thing I wanted to point out too that I'm noticing is how much better the art and animation looks this episode compared to the first part. And I think it has something to do with the art and the animators having more time to animate. I have to wonder if Period had a better schedule set up for them, because god, this looks fantastic. I'm talking about minus some of the character designs, of course. Oh my god, some of the Sternritters still look bad. Oh, Mask still looks bad. Damn it, it's not fair. Like, the hair for some of the other Sternritter looks okay. Jesus, I said it in the opening song live reaction. I'm gonna say it here too. Bach's face looks horrible. It looks better here than it did in the opening song, but Jesus. Oh my god, Bach's face looks bad. It's the eyes that are really killing me. And to be fair, manga's been having this problem too, where the eyes are just something funky going on. But here, it's not just the eyes, though. The eyes are a huge problem, but it's the cheekbones, too. The cheekbones are, because if you look at Bach, the cheekbones are very pronounced, and also the nose is very straight, and it's not here. And it's fucking killing me. It's like, dude, my dude needs a facelift or something. It's driving me fucking nuts. And I hate it. You know what? I think there's some added dialogue here, but I'm not mad at this. I'm not. I'm just gonna double check, but I don't. Yeah, I think there's some added dialogue, like, elaborating on the situation on the Quincy's, and I'm not mad. I think that's important for the exposition, but at the same time, it's like it frustrates me a little bit because instead of doing the bot content that they did at the start of the episode, why not show? And yes, I know that they did show a little bit of the Quincy War with the Shinigami in the previous season, but why not show some of that there, like in the beginning of this season? I would rather have that with like some narration or something, and save the bot content until like when 565 is getting adapted. I'm really frustrated with this structure right now, because right now, as I said, it really feels disjointed. I wish Basby, like at the 6-minute 28-second mark, 27, 28-second mark, I wish Basby was like a lot more pissed, because, and not as quiet, because in the manga he's like, what the hell's going on? He's like mad. He looks mad, but he's not like, yeah, he's not like, ah. It kind of bugs me. Bambi! I love Bambi. I love her. I love her. Oh my god. And we have blood. It's not censored. Thank God. Thank God it's not censored. Like around the 6-minute 48-second mark, it jumps to page 7 of chapter 544 4's adaptation of the manga, and this is when we get the Bambi content, and we get just, oh yes. Okay, I do want to emphasize this. We are in a war right now. We already are dealing with the stuff with, we dealt with the stuff with Bridget, still kind of dealing with it. We're in an ongoing battle for Yamato, and now the fight for Giselle is probably starting. Well, it has been going on for a minute, but fam, we cannot let them motherfuckers take Giselle. We stand Giselle in this household. Giselle needs to be protected. I love Giselle's voice actor. They're so perfect. I love Giselle. I do. Are we really cutting the Bambi's introductions? Are you fucking serious? I will be so mad if they are cutting the rest of the Bambi's introductions. This is some bullshit. I'm gonna wait until the end of the episode, because if they end up cutting like the rest of them, which I think, which includes Candace getting in a fight with Giselle, I'm gonna fucking hate life. But anyways, let's keep going here. None of them motherfuckers say shit about Basby. And it just jumps back to Basby. I'm like, what? No, I don't give it. No. This episode's, again, I have to stress this. I'm going to stress this a lot. The stuff with Ichigo and Ichibei should have not been in this episode. Period. This should have just been a straight up Sternritter episode. I'm really fucking annoyed right now. By the way, we jump back to, let's see, with the page 10 of chapter 543's adaptation of the manga in regards to the Basby content. At least I'm getting Giselle content, but this is not the you could have still had the other interaction and had this other bullshit content too. I'm really annoyed by this. I fucking hate this right now. I'm gonna say this about Rurouni Kenshin, like, even though they cut some of the comedy. At least it had everything else, and it was in order. I'm really fucking annoyed with this right now. I guess we're gonna have that little skip too, but whatever. Now this is an interesting change. It's Uryu is asking, because Uryu doesn't ask this question until after he becomes after the blood ritual, but it says here, at least in my translation here, that Uryu says before he gets the blood ritual, he wants to know why he's Bach's successor, which is actually a pretty fair question. I'm happy. You know what? I'm kind of happy with that change, to be honest. I'm not mad at that. So this is like a little bit before the 10-minute mark, and it's in chapter 544's adaptation of the manga. This shot of Uryu in front of the cross is beautiful. Oh, see, stuff like this, and as I said at the beginning, this is when I'm like, okay, this is a manga to anime adaptation. Shit like the other stunts that are being pulled is when I'm mad. And I'm like, no, this ain't a manga to anime adaptation. Oh, I'm so mad at how the Bambis just got handled. Oh my god, this shot of the Quincy graveyard is beautiful. You have the shot of Uryu, and then the camera zooms out and shows all the graves of the Quincy's that are killed. Because remember, Uryu's the last surviving Quincy. This is beautifully done. I'm very pleased. Very pleased with that. And also look at the time of day it is. The sun is setting. Again, symbolizing that he is the last surviving Quincy. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Again, this is why I'm watching this anime and covering this anime, is this added dialogue referencing the journal and getting more context on what Uryu found and what led him to Bach. I'm very happy with the filler content. In this case, though, and unlike with the Ichibe and Ichigo content, where it felt so out of place in this episode, this is where the filler works. Very happy. This whole change in the manga where Bach was the one explaining everything about Uryu being special and about the hidden power and all that, and trying to convince Uryu to go with him, and having it change to Uryu being the one to convince Bach to take him with him. I'm kind of torn on this. Part of me really likes that Uryu is the one to convince Bach to do it. But the other part of me, and it's kind of like a mutual thing, and then the other part of me is like, I kind of wish both was still, because there was some dialogue cut, obviously, in regards to the Hashiwald and all that. I kind of wish that was still there. But at the same time, I am pleased that that Uryu was, making his case. I'm very curious what you guys think. The only reason why I don't like that he questioned doing the blood ritual is like, dude, why would you? At this point, you should just do the blood ritual and ask questions later. You want this power, and then you could tell him all this other shit. Like, that's the only thing I'm just like, it's a huge huh. This animation, though, for when Uryu's drinking the blood, and then you see the Quincy symbol. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. This title page, or the in between card. Oh my fucking god, Kubo! Oh my god, how dare you go this hard? Because it has really become apparent we're not going to get all the dialogue in this scene, because we're just not going to do the scene correctly. I'm going to read the Bambi's dialogue here, because it's going to drive me nuts if I don't. This is what was supposed to be said by Latoto and which was This was after Bambi says, as if you guys don't dirty the place up too. This is what Latoto says is supposed to say. Crumbs from eating snacks and bloodstains are two totally different things, you stinky slut. And then Nina's supposed to say, it would be preferable if you could at least do it outside. And then Candace goes, this isn't an issue of inside or outside. What I'm trying to say is you got to do something about that habit of picking out a hot guy and killing him whenever something pisses you off. And then Giselle, of course, because you just love to sample your subordinates, don't you, Candy-chan? When did I ever say that? You're trying to start a fight here, Gigi. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Can you all be quiet? I've got bigger things to worry about right now. Bigger things? What do you mean? Isn't it obvious? I'm talking about the future of the Wanderwitch. Like, that's what was supposed to be the dialogue. Not this other bullshit with Basby. That really frustrates... Oh, God, it frustrates me. I hate it. I hate how this was handled. I do. Okay, you see what I mean by this episode feeling a little disjointed? Like... And this is what I would have liked to see. You have all the Sternritter content and have it actually done right with the Bambis. Like, seriously, I'm not happy with how the Bambis were handled. And then after that, you could have you transition into the Ichigo content and have him with Ichibei, like, have that Ichibei content. Then transition into Wakamundo. And then... go, I don't know if you want to have the Wakamundo training stuff. I don't know if you need that, to be honest. Even though, to be fair, there actually is a Wakamundo content in the manga that could be a good way to transition there, to like, prior to, having this filler of Ichigo training. So you could do that. But man, this episode, like, is feeling extremely disjointed. It's driving me crazy. Again, all this content, you could have had it before the first half of this episode be all the Sternritter stuff. And then have all the fucking Ichigo and Ichibei content. Like, you could have all that shit be filler for all I care. I just don't understand why you're doing it this way. This is so stupid. I don't like how disjointed this episode is. It's driving me nuts. This art animation makes me so happy. It does. I know you're trying to fucking suck up to me. No, I am not going to apologize for what I said. Here's the thing with this filler that's very important. In regards to the training, this is why I'm not mad this filler exists, because Ichibei does say, and this is when Ichigo leaves, that he has surpassed the power of a Shinigami. I believe that's what the line is. Yeah, that's the line. That he does surpass the power of a Shinigami. That's why this is kind of this filler is important. It's just, I just don't like how. I just don't like the first part of it, how the first part of it was placed. That's my only issue. But anyways, I almost forgot. The Urahara content that we saw actually is at, and this is like at the 12-minute 40-second mark, is like at page 17 of chapter 544's adaptation of the manga. It was going to drive me nuts if I didn't mention it. At the 14-minute 42-second mark, we're at the adaptation of page 14 of chapter 545's adaptation of the manga. And what we saw like prior to that, it's a little bit of a filler, but it's like foreshadowing what's going to be happening in regards to, and what my guess is in regards to Ichigo's friends, maybe? We'll see. We'll see if that's even going to be in here. I kind of hope it's still in here, because that's kind of important. Thank God, unlike last season, we are getting some comedy. We are. Minus, again, with the Bambis. I'm still not happy about that, but we are getting comedy. So, at the 15-minute 36-second mark, we jump back up to page 5 of chapter 545's adaptation of the manga. And my God, this episode is just in terms of structure, it is just disjointed as fucking hell. Oh my god. As I said, I don't mind if it's not, if the episode in terms of manga and anime adaptation, if it doesn't exactly follow beat for beat with the manga, but it has to make sense. This does not. This is very, very disjointed. Oh god, I'm really not happy with how disjointed this is. It's just not working. This scene here with Renji and Rukia. This scene should have been like after the whole thing with after Jinbei got Ichigo's training started. You could have had that right after that, and it would have flowed just fine. Like, as I said, everything is just so fucking disjointed. It's just like, whoa, what the fuck? It really is. At least for me. Are you fucking serious? They cut out so much dialogue. Again, this episode is fucking disjointed. You could have cut out some of these other bullshit scenes just to have this dialogue here. Oh my god, I am not happy with this. Okay, this is what was cut out. Right here. Besides which, I'm still not used to the atmosphere of this place. It is true the concentration of spirit particles in the air here is quite irregular. It no longer feels so oppressive that it physically weighs down my body, but every motion I make here still feels like moving through water. I cannot imagine what kind of effects all the spiritual particle concentration must have on our bodies. Why would you cut that? Why? I don't get it. The line that was skipped here, which means next he'll be stuffing his face, reforging his blade, and then that face. Why is this skipped? Are we really skipping? Oh my god, you gotta be shitting me. Again, you could have cut a lot of the bullshit out and saved it for, like, next episode. I just don't understand it. This was skipped. Where is it? This was like the flashback. Right here. That place was harsh, all right. The measuring up from hell. Indeed, stripping down naked is painful even to remember. Oi, Renji, why are you remembering it? Stop! Do not do this to yourself, Renji. Do not make me repeat myself. I sincerely doubt you failed to hear my instructions. Oh god, we're cutting out lewd jokes again. Jesus. Now hurry and remove your undergarment. Hold it. You're just measuring me for a new Shinigami robe, right? I'm sure you can do that while I'm wearing my Fudoshi. I see. Very well, so be it. I will slice off your most precious part before taking your measurements. Okay, I'll strip. Have you come to your senses, Renji? Thank goodness, I was afraid you would recall all the way up to the point where you removed your undergarments. Why would you cut this? Still, it is one thing for you to undergo such treatment, but when I think that my brother must experience the same ordeal, it pains my heart deeply. For me, it's one thing. Poor brother of mine. Why? Again, we are cutting dirty jokes. Why? I don't understand it. Then we, at the 1717 second mark, we jump to, page 16 of chapter 545's adaptation of the manga. Again, this is so disjointed. It's not flowing. It is not flowing at all. I do not understand why they chose to go this route. This was stupid. So we're just not going to mention that they remember him from the cleanup, the soldiers calling him that during the cleanup after the Eisen conflict. We're not going to mention that. Well, I guess. Though I would have been happier if it was a girl was skipped. Why? This happened in Rurouni Kenshin as well. What is going on with this? Why are these like little things being skipped? I know it's happening in video games, but that's localizer shit that's happening, where they are getting rid of gendered content. I really hope that this is not the case, a case here where it's localizers getting rid of gender content here, and it's not the anime itself doing that. Oh my god, if it is just, if it's not a localizer thing, I'm going to be so furious. Oh my god, because I've mentioned before, but I know the anime industry, because my Aniplex insider telling me this, is gonna go the way of the video game industry and start appealing to the global market. I'm telling my insider, I'm like, don't appeal to the U.S. Go appeal to the French. They are the second largest market, and they won't treat the properties like shit. And so I'm hoping that's gonna make a difference. But anyways, I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with this shit. The 17-minute, 57-second mark, we get to chapter 546's adaptation of the manga. God damn it, Nella's so cute. She is so freaking cute. But as I said, man, whoa, this shit is so disjointed. I know, again, I understand what they have to deal with here, because they're trying to get the have this episode go all the way up to the start of the invasion. But man, it's just, oh god, it's just really disjointed. It's really funky. The fucking invasion, how it is being executed, is freaking beautiful. Oh my god. The ending of this episode was so epic. Like, the start, I'm going to say this, the start and the ending of this episode was perfection. Oh my god. I don't understand what the fuck was going on in between. Like, oh my god, I'm so happy. I'm so happy with the beginning and ending of this episode. It's just, especially with what led the soundtrack. Oh my god, the soundtrack. Oh my god, it was so epic. And especially with the title card, oh my god, it went from like this beautiful, like abstract, like ominous music, and like with the birth and of Bach. And then we had this grand invasion, and the fucking music was beautiful. Oh my god. But as I've been saying throughout this live reaction, the main issue I've been having, and this happened in the first season as well, is how disjointed the episode felt in between. Now, how I would have liked to seen this. Again, I really wish the Bach content, the content we saw at the beginning of this episode, I wish this should have been later. You could have actually you could have had it next. It would have been more appropriate to have it next episode, at the start of next episode, actually, because of the lines at the end of this episode. God, it would be way more appropriate to have it at the start of next episode. It would have. I would have felt a lot better about that. Like, with the start of this episode, you could have just had the because remember how we ended last season? It was Ichigo getting his double Zanpakuto. You could have had the start of this episode and maybe like up to the first half being about Ichigo getting the stuff, going to train and seeing like the rest of the Shinigami, like train, getting their shit together and all that. And then after that, see all the Sternritter content and have that all lead up to the invasion. I think that would have worked a little bit better. Yeah, have it start with Ichigo coming out with his Zanpakuto and going with Ichibei. I think that would have been the best thing to do. I wouldn't have minded if we would have had more filler content in regards to Ichigo and Ichibei, like going into the next step of Ichigo's training. I think that would have been the best way to go about it. That's my opinion. And then and have some of the other some of the other content, that did need to be there. Like all the other Sternritter content needed to be there and all that. But hell, even even, yeah, even like the content where you know, the stuff in Lego Mundo and the other shit, that, yeah, that needed to happen. That does need to happen too. But there's a way that it could happen and have it flow. Like, hell, you could have had the content with, you know, Ichigo's friends. You could have had that like right before the halfway point, and it would have worked, at least for me. But because remember what the whole thing is, and even the opening song did it really well. This is a thing. This is a whole thing between Uryu and Ichigo. And the first episode, if you would have had like half of it be for like Ichigo and all the shit going down with him, and like some of the stuff going down in Wakamundo and all that shit. If you would have had, and you know, the stuff going on with Rukia and Renji, and you could have you could have maybe saved it for next episode. Maybe could have saved it for next episode. Maybe. Nah, I don't think you could have. I think you needed to have it in this episode. But there has to be a way to where I think part of, as I said, the problem is you had having Bach, that stuff with Bach at the beginning of this episode was a huge mistake. That should have been at the start of next week's episode, because then, as I said, you had the stuff with the King's song, and then you had then transition it into start of next week's episode with Bach's story. It would have worked so much better, at least in my opinion. But I do not like how the stuff with the Bambis was executed. It was very sloppy in terms of writing structure. It was very sloppy. We didn't get any of their introductions done properly, which really irritated the fuck out of me. Remember last season we got these cool like title cards for the Sternritter. I was not happy we did not get them. I guess we have to wait until they go into battle before we get them. But I'm very curious what you guys thought of this chapter, or thought of this episode. Do you guys think it was as disjointed than like I did? I don't know what was going on over there. Like, were they just thinking we need to cram as much shit as we can? And do you guys agree with me that the content at the beginning of this episode should have been used next week? I think it would have worked so much better, and we should have had the start of this week's episode, today's episode, with the Ichigo content. I think that just would have made more sense. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, what you guys think, and remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Nerdigans Inc. Love what we're doing and want to help keep this operation alive and kicking so we can keep bringing you more Bleach content. A few ways you could do that: donate to our Cash App, PayPal, Patreon, purchase something off our Amazon wishlist. All that's in the description box below. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter, Twitch, Discord, friend us on PlayStation Network. That's in the description box below as well. Till next time, Nerdigans, I will be seeing you later. Bye.